Welcome to the Petersen's Bowhunting Podcast. All bow hunting, all the time. Now, here's your host, Associate Editor Mark Demko.
So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Bowhunting Podcast. During the course of the year, we have a chance to talk to some really incredible guests, hear some incredible stories during the podcast, hunters across the country. But this might be one of the most amazing stories I've ever heard. Today, we're very excited. We have Ian Craig. He's a bow hunter from northwestern Pennsylvania, and he had a chance to go on an elk hunt during the state's archery elk season last year. Ian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. How did you get started in bow hunting? My understanding is you've been bow hunting for about 3 or 4 years, but what made you first pick up a bow?
Well, I shot a little bit whenever I was a kid. One of my buddies, Evan Bice, and a few guys down the road, they archery hunt, and my buddy got a new bow. So he said, hey, I'll sell you my bow so you can, kind of start shooting and getting into it. And so I bought that bow off him about 4 years ago. I shot it for about a couple months. Archery season came up. And my family has a meat market, Henry's in Harrisville, and we still process deer. So it was kind of hard. Like, I got out a couple times, but it really wasn't, with us processing, it was kind of hard for me to get out. And then the next year, so in 3 years ago, I had to have elbow surgery, so I couldn't pull my bow for a whole year. So really, I started archery hunting about 2 years ago, and I love it. Just how tough it is compared to rifle hunting, and, the rut's just amazing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, it's just cool.
Yeah. Now, without spilling all the beans, I would tell you went through a lot of hurdles to A, go on the hunt, and then B, score on a bull. And it's a pretty magnificent bull. But, the first things first, in Pennsylvania, they only give out 100 and some elk tags a year. So when you draw an elk tag, it's like winning the lottery. How many years did you apply for a tag? And the reason I ask you that is I think I've been applying for 14 years and I've never even sniffed a tag for elk. So
I've only applied for 2 years. So I applied last year and this year. And this year, honestly, I wasn't even going to apply because I was thinking, there's no chance of me drawing a bull tag and all of that. And my fiance said, well, for the money, you might as well just apply. It's worth a shot. And, I applied and picked zone 4, and I just got lucky.
Well, congratulations on that. And for people who are listening to the podcast, Pennsylvania's had what I would say is a nice but small sized elk herd for, probably 100 years now. And a couple decades ago, they started offering hunts. And the herd is primarily located in the northwestern, north central part of the state, but it's also known as a herd that has some tremendous bulls in it. So, Ian, you were fortunate. You drew a tag. Your second year of really fully archery hunting. Your second year of applying for a tag. What were the next steps? You live a little bit away. You don't live across the state from the elk country, but you live a little bit away. So, how did you go about selecting an outfitter, doing some of your research and scouting and things like that?
So I live about 2 hours away from, where the zone I drew. My family friend has a camp up in the Penfield area. So, I knew of like the elk and Benazet, but I didn't know like all the different hunting zones. It was actually a Saturday, the day that I drew, the game commission called me and congratulated me for pulling a tag. And then as soon as I got off the phone with them, I was like kind of in disbelief that I drew a tag, and my phone just kept ringing all day. I must have got 25 phone calls with different people from outfitters, and it was just overwhelming. So, so that was on August 21st. So the 29th, not this Sunday, and then the next day, like 8 days later, I had a meeting with 3 different outfitters. I had with John from Elk County Outfitters, the one I went with. And then I had one with Hicks Run, and then another one with Trophy Rack. So I ended up meeting with John who was my guide, and then Eric, he was our caller, our other guide. I met with them and we talked for about an hour and a half. I took my bow, we shot a little bit, and we just had that connection right off the bat that I didn't even go meet with any of the other two outfitters. I just knew that's who I wanted to go with. And it was actually, so we got the bow out, we shot a couple, and there was actually two bulls over in like John's side yard of his camp there that was in zone 4. So I kind of got to see a couple bulls like right off the bat, and it was just, it was a cool experience.
Yeah. Now, as you're preparing for the hunt, I'm guessing you were obviously shooting a bit, getting up to the archery season. And how far were you practicing with your shots and things like that? What were you prepared for as far as a range?
So within my 2 years of, like archery hunting and like 4 years of shooting a bow, I really never shot over 40 yards. But whenever I went and talked to the guys, they said, just shoot out to 60. He's like, be comfortable shooting 50 and 60. He said, we're probably not going to take a shot that far, but, just shoot it. So I would shoot 100, so whenever you draw to the time that you go hunt is about 3 weeks. So I basically had 3 weeks to get ready. So I was shooting 100 arrows a night, and I would just start, I'd start shooting, 10, I'd shoot 10 arrows at 10 at 20. I'd go back to 60, and then I'd work my way back. So I was shooting a bunch, just trying to get ready. But yeah, I was shooting out to 60.
Yeah. And so then September came and went, and it was time for the hunt. Let's walk us through that experience, because you didn't end up getting a bull in the first or second day. You actually put some leather on the ground, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. We walked upwards to 65, 70 miles in the 9 days we hunted. It was an incredible experience. But the first day of the season, the 11th, I had a wedding, so I didn't hunt. So the 12th was the Sunday. I moved up to camp for I figured I'd probably be there maybe 2 weeks, the rest of the 2 week season. And then we basically went and did some scouting on Sunday, shot the bow. And then Monday morning was our first day of hunting. We went out in the morning, saw a little raggy, and it was real hot that first week. It was upper 80s. So the elk really weren't moving. So we were really hunting in the morning and the evenings. So, we would hunt, we'd get out in the woods about 5 in the morning. We were usually back to the truck by 9:30, and then we'd go back out at probably about 3:00. And so the first day we saw that little raggy, and then we went to a different spot in the evening hunt. And it was actually the clover patch that I killed my bull in, but we didn't see anything. We hunted there until right before dark. It started pouring. So we got out of the woods, and on the way out, we saw like 10 bulls crossing the road. It was, a pretty cool experience. So that got me excited for the next day. And then Tuesday, the second day I hunted, it was a real foggy morning from all the rain from the night before. And we had a couple bulls going, and Eric actually called a 6x6 into 20 yards. It was awesome because this bull just comes out of the fog, and there he is, 20 yards broadside. I was full drawn on him, and John looked at me and said, I won't tell you not to kill it, but I know we have bigger. It's your second day. So I kind of watched him for a couple minutes and watched him go. And, I kind of wondered, I was kind of nervous. I was like, well, I hope I didn't just pass that and then, leave here empty handed. But, it ended up working out in the long run. Wednesday, we saw a couple bulls, but we couldn't, we just couldn't make it happen. Thursday, we had no luck in the morning, but in the evening hunt, we had beautiful 8x8 come out to 70 yards, and he was just kind of raking the ground, but just wouldn't come, that extra that extra distance. And he did come into 59 yards, and it was right before dark. And John said, well, what do you want to do here? He's like, you want to take a poke at it at 60? And I said, well, what are the odds that it jumps my arrow or ducks my arrow? And he said, I've never seen an animal that big duck an arrow. So I drew on him. I let my arrow fly, and he ducked my arrow. His back went to his stomach. And then he went out 5 more yards, and he started bugling, chuckling at me, and just kind of hung out there. So, I had a miss, but and then leading into Friday, we saw nothing. Saturday we chased a 9x7, and probably 3.5 miles. It seemed like as soon as we would get ahead of him, where we thought we were ahead of him, he was, 5 steps ahead of us. And it was just playing cat and mouse all day. And, we didn't get to him. And then Saturday evening, we had no luck, just a bunch of coyotes. So, and then Sunday we took the day off. Monday, we didn't see anything in the morning. And then Monday evening, we had 6 bulls out in the field. One was a big bull, but he just didn't work his way up. I actually ended up having 5x5 at 14 yards standing right in front of me. We were staring each other in the eyes, but no, we couldn't get a shot at him either. So it really all went into Tuesday, the day I ended up killing. So
now you're talking about being on the field over a week. You're hunting. You had a missed opportunity. You passed on a really nice bull. You were obviously looking for something special. Was there any point where you thought, man, I may not get this done, I'm running out of time?
Yeah. Sunday, since I live so close, I kind of came home and took a day off just because, all that walking, and I was just worn, like starting to get worn out, both mentally and physically, and so I just took a day at home and kind of relaxed, and I came back up Monday, and, Monday, seeing all those bulls, I kind of felt like, the next nice bull I have, no matter what it is, 5x5, 6x6 up, I really wasn't looking for what I got. I passed that 6x6 the second day only because I knew I had, a week and a half left. So that my mindset for that last week, the first decent bull I see within range, I'm shooting. And then, that ended up being the state record. So
yeah,
it's just funny how things work out.
So now we're on Tuesday, and as you just mentioned, you actually got what is going to be the new state record archery bull. It's a bull that scores 400 plus points, just over 400 inches. So tell us about what happened there on Tuesday and how the hunt went and how everything unfolded.
Yeah, Tuesday morning was just just hats off to Elk County Outfitters, man. Every other bull hunter they had killed. So all the rest of the guides were still on vacation. So we had probably 10, 12 guys with boots on the ground looking for bulls in our zone. And, it was just, everybody was looking for that bull. In the morning, we had no luck. It was just, we walked probably 6 miles before 9:30 in the morning, but it just didn't seem like, we could get it going. And my dad actually took that day off work, and he was there with us whenever we were in that other clover field, the field I ended up killing, but the first time we were there on the first night, my dad said, I really like that clover field. Why don't we go back there tonight? So we ended up going back to that clover field Tuesday night around 4:30. Like about 4:00, we got, we parked the truck, and then we had about a mile walk into the woods, and we get to the clover field, and there was a cow out in the field. And John looked at me and said, they looked and said, if this cow barks at us, we're screwed. Because we had a couple bulls bugling back in other end of the field.
Uh-huh.
So, so we ended up walking out, and, she didn't bark. She just kind of just, trotted off, and we got set up, and we had 6 bulls going all around us. So how we were kind of like in the corner of the woods, because the field was kind of like a dog leg left. So we were in the corner, so we could kind of look at both ends of the field. And we had a bull going to our right where Eric was calling. So I was actually looking the opposite way, because I thought this other bull was going to pop out, because he sounded like he was really close. And then that's whenever John, he grabbed me by the back and he said, "That's the bull you want." And then my bull came out of the woods at 300 yards, and I saw his rack, and I just thought, "Holy moly!" We can't screw this one up. So, that was about 5:00, and 5:30 he came out, and hats off to Eric. Eric was calling, and he just ate it up. And I think that other bull that was close behind us, he was bugling too, and that just pulled him right in. So in the matter of 5 minutes, he closed that, 300-yard gap. And, he got into 30 yards. He stopped, he bugled, and then he took 2 more steps, and his arm, like his right arm was back, and he was looking at me, and I was able just to put one right into his heart. And he ran about 50 yards and went down. And wow, it was just, we ran out and let him go for a couple minutes, and we were all in disbelief. It was just the way it ended up working out.
What's the first thing that went through your mind when you saw him fall over?
As soon as I hit him, I saw his arms buckled, and he started going, and I was just in disbelief. Eric came running out, because he actually fell like right in front of Eric. So Eric came running out towards us and just said, "Let's give him a minute." And I was just like, holy moly, like, is he really dead? And the guys were like, "Yes, yeah, he's dead." So we walked up on him, and sorry, somebody keeps calling. We walked up on him, and there he was. And they didn't get me actually killing him on video, but my dad, recorded us walking up on him, and you can just keep hearing me say, "Is he really dead? Is he really dead?" I just, I just couldn't believe it. It was, and the fact that my dad was there, took the day off work, and, he was, 10 yards behind me whenever I shot. So he got to see the whole thing. And, it was just amazing.
So yeah, obviously it's a very special experience, and you had an idea that this was a big bull, was the one you were going to take. Your dad was with you. Let's talk a little bit about some of the dimensions. What was the size? How many points on that rack? Spread and all that good stuff.
Yeah, he was a 10x8 bull. His spread was 49 6/8 inches. Just thick. I mean, I can't put my finger, I can't touch my fingers anywhere on his rack. He's, super thick. I think his main beam is, what is it? I have it written down here. His left beam was 48 inches long, and his right beam was 48 5/8. So he was, almost symmetrical, 5/8 inches off. And that's why he scored so well. Just about every point on him was about the same as the other. I only had 16 inches of deductions, and there was one beam, and that's what made him non-typical. There was one beam that didn't have the match on the other side, and that was around 20 inches, and that's what got me the non-typical points.
Now, that is an incredible bull and an amazing story, and it keeps getting better. I heard somewhere along the way that this is a bull that actually traveled pretty far. I mean, it traveled several miles between his summer range and his fall/winter range. Can you share any light on that?
Yeah, we were actually after I killed and we got him field dressed. There was actually a guy that has a logging company that logs with horses. So we called him and he brought his horse out, and that's how we drug it out of the woods. So I killed at 5:30. We got out of the woods around 11:30. Got back to camp probably about 12 o'clock, and we were all sitting there eating supper, talking, laughing, celebrating, and I had a picture that another outfitter sent me of a bull, and we were, just in velvet. So we were just, showing them around. And Brian he said that wasn't in zone. The guy was saying it was in zone 1. He said that wasn't in zone 1. That's in zone, I believe, 7. And I have all these pictures of him. He pulls out his phone and starts showing me all these pictures. And they ended up having video of him in velvet and all that in zone 7, which they figured was probably between 7 and 10 miles as the crow flies from where I killed him. So we had no clue that bull was even in that area, and they believe like the path that he was headed was another about 6 miles to Winslow Hill. So they believe that that's where he was going, because he had no cows with him. Bull his size, he had no cows. It really, like, we're figuring live weight, 900 pounds. So he really didn't lose that rut weight yet. So we really think like he was just getting the party started. So, or at least working on it.
What were you using? Well, as far as your setup, what was your bow? What arrow? What broadhead?
Yeah, I shoot a Hoyt Nitrum Turbo, and then the neighbor guy down the road, he shoots competitive. So it was actually one of his old bows. I bought it 2 years ago, but it's about a 4-year-old bow. And then he got me hooked up with some Carbon Express arrows, and then I was shooting Muzzy Trocar, like it was a 2-blade fix and then 2 mechanical. But then whenever I got there, Eric said, sometimes mechanicals don't work. I think, you might be better off shooting a fully fixed blade. So then that's when I switched to the G5s. They're 3-blade fixed. And then that's what I ended up killing him with.
Well, I mean, as you listen to this story unfold, not only was it an incredible experience and incredible hunters, there's something else we can't overlook. This isn't the case where you actually had like 2 or 3 whitetails under your belt before you took this elk, is there?
No, this is a lot of people probably going to hate me for this, but this is the first animal I killed with my bow. So, all the guys were just like poking fun at me, like anything you kill the rest of your life is never going to amount to what this was. Your first kill with your bow being, a state record bull. It's just, like whenever I killed, we knew we had something special. We knew it was over 400. Just the guides knew by just looking at it, but never in my wildest dreams would I have thought, I'd be taking a state record bull. It's truly amazing.
Well, yeah,
and just shout out to the Pennsylvania Game Commission. All the bulls that I saw this trip, truly amazing. And just the system they have, they're growing big bulls, and I truly think like the next just the next world record bull will be taken out of Pennsylvania. Because my bull was only 7 years old. So you imagine if he had 2 more years to grow, where they're in that peak, he would have been truly amazing. He still is truly amazing, but he would have been phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, it is an incredible resource that the state has as far as the wild elk population. And congratulations to you. That is an incredible first animal to take with your bow. What was the final Boone and Crockett score? What was the official score?
So the official score, he grossed at 416 and 2/8, and he netted 400 and 2/8. So just in that 400 range where we thought he was. We taped him a week after I killed him, right before he had the time to dry. And, he only lost 2 inches from where we guessed he was at. So we were right in that mark.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't use this word a lot, but that's truly a monster bull, a monster elk, massive. Now, what did you have done with the bull? Are you having a mount made? You just have the rack, or?
Yeah. So I was able, obviously my family having a meat market, and it cooled off that night. So we took him whole to the check station in the morning and got him, they pulled the tooth and all that. And I got him home about 10 o'clock, got him skinned out. And I took the hide right to Simmons Wildlife. It's a guy down the road from our shop in Harrisville. And he's a, really good taxidermist, a great customer of ours, a great guy. And so he has my hide and everything. And I still actually have my rack down in the garage. So he should be calling me within the next month. I'll take my rack over to him, and I'm getting a shoulder mount. So I have a nice spot on the wall picked out. And I'm glad.
I'd hope so.
glad whenever we finish my place, I put in 18-foot ceilings. It'll be able to fit in there,
Yeah, no. When you were hunting, I forgot to ask, was this public land, private land, or was it a mix of both?
Yeah, it was a mix of both. But where I killed it was a timber company bought 10,000 acres, but they got financed through the state government. So it was private, but public. Like they had to open up so much of it to public hunting. But then again, shout out to the guides. They made friends with all those loggers and stuff. So they were able to get us into a lot of areas that, most people couldn't get into by just making those connections.
I think what you're referring to is the state of Pennsylvania has a pretty excellent public access program where private landowners will open up their lands. And that's both forest lands, like we're talking about, and also farmlands. So the state has an extensive game land system, a lot of public lands, but then they also have private lands that are open if you ask permission. So kudos to them and to your guide and to Elk County Outfitters. And obviously congratulations to you for taking, I don't think we're off base when we call that a once in a lifetime bull.
Yeah, I truly don't think I'll ever top it unless maybe I pull another PA tag someday.
So before we let you go here, you've got a 400-inch bull, your first animal ever taken with a bow. What's next on your bucket list as far as archery hunting? What's your next goal?
I'm going to start applying for Kentucky for elk, and I have points out in Wyoming for mule deer and antelope. So hopefully here in the next couple of years, I pull a tag out there and I get to take my bow out west and maybe get something out there.
Well, Ian, thank you so much for joining us on the Bowhunting podcast to share your story of your hunt for the new state record non-typical archery bull last year. It is a truly amazing animal. And like I said, like you said, both of us, you put so many miles on till you got that shot on day 9 of the hunt, but it ended up being all worth it with a once in a lifetime animal. Good luck as you get out hunting this year. And thank you to everybody for joining us on the Bowhunting podcast. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for downloading the Petersen's Bowhunting podcast. All bow hunting, all the time. Pick up the latest issue of Petersen's Bowhunting magazine on your local newsstand or connect with us online at bowhuntingmag.com.